So we have two brand new Transformer items to talk about today that are visually revealed from the different Chinese message boards of Baidu, Weibo, and of course, all the stuff that started to pop up on the Western message boards just of yesterday. And it's that of two items we talked about through listings that showed up of a Transformers animated deluxe class Prowl and the Junkion 2 that we didn't really know the origin or what's going on with that. Today we have images of both of them. We're going to discuss them and break down everything, and it gives us an indication of how some of the visuals will work for some future characters in relation to Transformers Animated. So let's jump into that. And the first one we're going to talk about is a Transformers Legacy Evolution Deluxe Class Animated Prowl. We have a shot of both the alt mode and the robot mode here today, and I have to say I'm very impressed with what I saw. When I first saw this, I legitimately thought it was a custom using the original animated toy as a base, just because a lot of the similar beats and the sculpting was very similar to that. But of course, when you really look deeply at it, there is veneering differences and changes. But when you put them side by side, you can kind of understand when it's standalone looking at it, the naked eye, you would say otherwise. But I think it looks really good. It's clearly a really good balance of somehow finding Derek's design and adding just a slight mixture of the Generation 1 flavor into it. Specifically, I think the head sculpt is really a marriage of Generation 1 Prowl meets the animated Prowl, and finding a happy medium in the middle that just works well with the overall group aesthetic that is the Legacy line. And it looks really good. It looks really good. I like how there's a lot of similarities between the transformation beats that existed with the original toy, like the wheel being sculpted into the leg, the way that the weapons are stored in the leg, the little ninja stars, the way that the the front end, how it has a very similar kind of shape and sculpting, even the back kibble, which makes the side of the motorcycle mode, how it just kind of works out too. It's something where if you would have handed me this toy in the wild, like I'm at a convention, you handed me this toy without the head sculpt on it, I would have for a split second forgotten what Prowl's toy was like and go, oh, here it is. There, this is the original Prowl. Yeah, sure, it's the original animated Prowl toy. Of course, the legs are the biggest giveaway, especially the thighs and stuff. But, I mean, it looks really good. I'm very impressed with how they went about this, and it really gives me a lot of hope for how they'll probably handle other animated characters in the future and probably the direction that they'll want to take. Obviously, kind of steering away from the more exuberant faces and stuff that animated had, the big chins and the long faces, and doing something that's a little more, again, kind of a house style within the Legacy line. But otherwise, I mean, the bodies themselves are pretty good. I really like what I see. And I'm pretty sure Derek, if he was still with us today, would really like the fact that they actually used a colored red Autobot logo. One of Derek's biggest contentions with the original animated line was he hated how they used silver Autobot and Decepticon logos on the toys themselves, and he really liked when they would use colored ones, and it was something that you only saw with like some universe releases and stuff like that. So it's nice to see the Autobot logo put on the front of Prowl there too. That looks really nice. Again, a very good mixture of two different kinds of aesthetic that really balance well and don't depart too much from the final product, as opposed to, say, some of those Prime designs that we got, which some people have been kind of hot or cold about. But I like it. It looks really good. Makes us really wonder what could be repainted or retooled into this, because I'll get into a moment with what's really going on with Transformers the past year. But we'll cover that in a second. So the next one we want to talk about is this elusive listing that we had for a while now that was called Junkion 2. Now, that name Junkion 2 comes from the original scripts of the 86 movie, because you had Junkion 1 and Junkion 2. Junkion 1 was Junkyard, Junkion 2 was Scrap Heap, and that's just kind of how it was for years. Now we have a Junkion 2 here. It clearly uses that weaponizer kind of modulator gimmick of coming apart and going back together. And it looks really good. Also transforms into a motorcycle. And this guy, I'm telling you, he was right in front of our face all this time, and we didn't even realize it. If you look at the original poster of Transformers Legacy Evolution, we had motorcycles in it, but I guess we all just kind of assumed that it was all just now we know it as Junk Heap from Studio Series and stuff like that, but we thought it was all junk heap and everything, or the Rekgar molds. But you could clearly see that some of them have a headlight that is double headlight. Some of them have a singular headlight, and the singular headlight ones, along with some of the veneering on the side of the front end, are clearly that of this character Junkion 2 today, as well as one of those Junkions that are riding on the motorcycle clearly has the same head sculpt, even though the body might be a little different. So it was right in front of our face pretty much on the poster all this time, and now we finally have it right in front of us. Now we just got to figure out what the hell's going on with that lockdown looking one over there. That's a Junkion member too, that has those Junkion colors. It's probably going to be a Junkion member, and then later on will be a lockdown mold, and then we'll get another animated character. But that's a whole other story. But either way, we got a first look of this guy. Looks pretty good. Again, it's going to be one of those modulators, which I'm pretty sure you can mix and match with everybody, and it'll come out looking good. Now, the funny thing about it is the name of this character. So we had Junk Heap that was used for Studio Series, which was a repaint of the Rekgar Voyager class, and Junk Heap was kind of this weird fusion of the previous names, because it used to be Junkyard and Scrap Heap. Now it's Junk Heap. So is this one going to be Scrapyard? Are they going to make a mixture of those two names? The Scrapyard trademark actually existed in Transformers back during the Age of Extinction days. There was a 3-pack with a Junkyard Optimus Prime, referring to the Junkyard scene and everything from Age of Extinction and everything. And that trademark has long since expired, so maybe they'll bring that back. This will be Junkyard. That's just my, guess here. I could totally be wrong. Could just be a brand new character. But yeah, that's pretty awesome too. But this brings a bigger question, because it's something that I remember I talked with Aaron Archer many years ago. Is like, there was this talk about they didn't want to bring like a bludgeon toy out because too many tanks or too many this. They didn't want to have too many of one alt mode. Within the past year, we've had a lot of motorcycle Transformers. If you're a motorcycle fan of Transformers, man, you were in luck. Between RC, her repaint in the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection of Road Rocket, the Flame War Shattered Glass repaint, Core Class Iguanus, the Studio Series Junk Heap that I just mentioned, and of course the Rekgar that came out last year, literally at the end of the year, and now these two. That's a lot of motorcycles, a lot of motorcycle molds, most of them, not all of them, but most of them being brand new tooling from the ground up. That's a lot of motorcycle molds, and it really makes me wonder what could be done with these guys with repaints and retools. How much more could be done with it? Some people were suggesting that maybe with Prowl, with some clever retooling and some twisting, you could maybe get a Road Pig out of that, so you could have both laser cycles together. We already have Road Rocket through Velocitron Speedia 500. Maybe we could get a Road Pig out of this one. I could kind of see that, but I think Road Pig would be better if we ever get another Groove mold down the line, and then whatever they want to do with that Groove mold, maybe they could twist and turn that one into a Road Pig, because that's more of I call it the Easy Rider motorcycle, the Chips motorcycle. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, this is still pretty cool. Again, these two are, again, a good indication of what's going to be happening in the future for 2023. And especially if you're a Transformers animated fan, and if they do other animated characters, how aesthetically they will look. And again, it looks like on the short list, Lockdown is definitely going to be one of them and a few others. But this is awesome stuff. Let me know what you think, and hopefully we learn more about this later this week. We have some beautiful photos of them, and maybe we'll get some even nicer photos, some more information, some reveals, and everything like that officially from Hasbro within the next couple of days. We will see. We will see. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again real soon on the Transformers Slag podcast.